Greetings, fellow humans. If there are any of you left out there, welcome back and shit. Uh, I'm in a new facility here. Is not the best word. A new docile, as you can see. Um, it's been an interesting. The last 10 months have been pretty crazy, and there's been a slowdown in the channel uh, because of that, and just kind of checking back in with everybody that's still here, and thanking you for staying. Uh, Today I was gonna do this live, but I think I don't. Well, I know I don't have a cord that's long enough to put the camera on the table, so and use it as a webcam. So I'm gonna have to film it, and then we'll go from there. So this is fixing AI art. Most people, I think that a lot of people praise the AI art as well. you know, it has gotten a lot better, but it still makes a lot of mistakes. For continuity, uh, and so I still to this day have to Photoshop the images before I generate them. At least run them through Photoshop to fix just little things here and there that are kind of inconsistent, and it's gotten a lot easier over time. 2 years ago, I would have to use. Sometimes I'd use up to 6 different images and compositing them together just to get a cohesive image. But it's gotten a lot better now. Sometimes I'm down to one, which is pretty awesome. But it's still roughly using 2 or 3 images to take elements out of them and place them in the other one, because sometimes it'll forget one, and then yeah. So I'll walk you through this is my process. Basically, it starts with the images. All of the characters that are here are, I told you in my last video, I've got all my drawings on the wall that I used to build the characters, and then it's once I got those images honed in, then it was simply making character sheets, so you have a full view of them, and those have been great. But I still have to Photoshop those before or take one image. It'll get one of the guys wrong. It'll like one of the angles will be wrong, and so you have to maybe take one from another generation and stick it in there. So it's a lot of work, and most people, I think when it comes to most people's idea of AI film, is that they start, with they prompt a character and they just use what they're given. They pick their favorite one and then they use that, and then. But I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there like me who are trying to use characters that they had the look of them down before AI came out, and I kind of wish I had waited, because for me now, so if I were to take, let's say, it's hard to see, it's hard to see, but this image that is right here, going on right here, this one in between the two shirts, that was the furthest along I'd gotten in the Photoshop before AI, and it's a cartoon. It's kind of an animation style, and it's a cartoon. Getting that to look like the way the characters look now, it took a lot of work. But now, all I have to do is stick that little image in there, and it gets it almost exactly right now. Like, it's if I had just waited 2 years to do this, I could. Oh man! But I dove in when I learned about it, and in one aspect, it's I have all the Photoshop documents that show all the layering of all the characters, and but yeah, and I think that that's what people think is that they prompt a character and then they just use that to generate their stories and their stuff. And I know that there's a not to dispel the amount of time that they go through to choose the correct one they want for their scenes. And I know that there's a lot of take this head and put it on this outfit and that looks awesome, and which the only characters that I did that with was Bits and Circuit. They were the only two characters that I hadn't designed when I started this. And when AI first came out, I thought, oh well, since it's a robot character, maybe I should use AI to help me design it. And so that was the only. Those are the only two characters that actually started with a prompt. But then I still had to Photoshop those images because they had, they would put like weird ports on the like it had some wild stuff. But I got there, and so those all still got designed through Photoshop, essentially. I mean, they didn't. I didn't have a sketch that I started them from, so all the other characters are basically started from sketches. So even my logo for Good Robot, it started as this on a back of probably a collection note. Who knows? No, it's just a bill. But yeah, and so this part of the process is kind of how it all starts. So you'll be on a little ride with me here. What are we at? 8 minutes already. So I'll try to keep this one pretty short. Hopefully, I've got a couple pulled up. Let's show you. Let's go ahead and show you. Shall we? Okay, here we go. Oh, and let me know. Oh shit, I have this new docile I live in is interesting. There's a thing in the window that's making noise. A little AC unit. Welcome to Arizona. So let's see if I can get in closer and see if we can do that. We got this guy going on here. Oh, come on. There you go. My camera has a little gimbal that likes to whatever. It takes a second to sit. All right, so this image that we're working on here is Roddy, and they're flying. Now, the only thing I've added so far, which I'll kind of zoom in and show you. Whoops, wrong page. Zooming in here, and then we'll see originally there was no, I don't know if you can see that. You gotta flip back and forth here. Let's see if I can get a better angle. That's a better angle. There's a better angle. There we go. How about this? Okay. So you can see originally there's supposed to be two people in the car. It's supposed to be Otis and Bits, and you can really only, in the original image, you can only see him. So I had to put her little mohawk in the background so it looked like there's two of them. Now, the only thing I'm going to have to do here is that it has given him a face. And he doesn't have a face, he has a mask. So we're going to start by, doing a little smudge just to kind of flat. Oh, that was way big. Alright, so we'll flatten this a little bit and just bring his face out. Am I on the background? Nope, of course not. Let's bring his, oops, that was a little much right there. A little better angle. Here we go. And too much. What am I? I'm at 93%. That's a bit heavy. We'll go down to 60. Maybe I'll push this back. And then this forward. And this forward. I'll do a little angle here. Oh, actually, let's push it out so it looks like he does still have a chin. A little chin. Chinny chin chin. And I don't know, something off about this nose port. I think it should be a little higher. Yeah, it's too big. It's too big. And we'll push this bit around here a little bit, just so it looks not so much like a face, but kind of looks more like just a mask. And the other thing I'm noticing is that it doesn't have his breathing device on there. Okay, so how am I going to get his breathing device on there? Well, we'll figure that out in a minute. Okay, so the other element of this image that is off is this trim. This trim is not really on the vehicle, but it gave me some trim in this generation. So, in the past, what I would have to do would be to smudge this. I would use the tool I was just using here, and I would smudge it. I would go along the whole edge and smudge everything together, and then I would, sample some of the patina and then sprinkle that over it. But ever since the delete tool was added, which is, let me see if I can get this. This is probably a better angle because you don't need to see all this business over this side. Okay, so yeah, I would use a smudge and do that, but they ended up, and now we got this awesome spot heal brush and just remove tool, and this thing works pretty awesome. It sometimes still requires, in fact, that's probably too wide of a brush. We'll see what it does. It's a little faintly there still. Do another little wipe. See, it'll always pull from the other. Let's see what we want. Do we want to do that or this? Alright. Enter. Alright, so that cleared it out. That was pretty good. Now, it does leave a little bit of a grid pattern. So, you want to go in and find, your blur tool. I'll just blur, what do I got it at? 11%? That may be a little heavy. Kind of get it roughly the same. Size, take it down to 8%, and then kind of just dab around that area and get rid of that kind of cross hatching that it leaves behind, which it does on, let's see, this image isn't that big, but it's also depends on the size of your image. That's what they say. Ha ha ha. Alright, I'm gonna do this guy out of there. Again, it kind of left a faint ditty here. I'll do a little rewipe, and then you can see, that's because it's doing like a content fill or a content aware, I think is what it's kind of doing there. It's gonna pull from like whatever's around your cursor. So, well, and sometimes well, here, this is the beauty of Photoshop. Here we go. Back. Well, let's not go that far. Alright, let's go back here. So sometimes, if you're lucky, you can just swipe the whole friggin' thing and it'll take it. So let's try that. Let's see what happens. Holy butterball. That was amazing. All right. That was great. You got to watch us luck out on that. That was amazing. So we're going to go back on our blur tool. And we're going to dab in these heavy crosshatch areas that it produces after the remove tool has been used. All right. Spot. All right. Okay. So let's see what else we got going on in this image that we needed to be fixed. And this still needs a little bit of some action here. Some action here. I'm sure that you guys cannot even see what the hell I'm doing. But there is some small cross-hatching happening along that line. And truthfully, this line could maybe use a little darkness on it because it did kind of lighten the line on the door seam. Oh, and I just noticed another element that needed to. There's so many times where I'll like be exporting the image, and as I'm exporting it, I notice something else that's effed up in it. But what was I going for? Oh, I want to paint. I want to paint a little line and make it thin. My opacity's at 18. It's probably pretty decent. All right. Not much. I don't know. And the other thing is, being a portrait painter, I I tend to get a little pretty intense with detailing. But it does generally help in your outputs, believe it or not. Now, this element seems like it shouldn't be connecting. Let's see. Let's go back to smudge. And it doesn't seem like it should be connecting this way to this part here. So, it's so big. Give me the small line. I want the small line. All right, here we go. We're just going to push this away so that the engine looks a little more separated from the, I don't know what they call it, fuselage? Or just the body? I don't know. Probably both. Alright. And bring this color up. Okay. This thing on top here, I don't really know what this is. Anyway, I could probably get rid of that. You know what? No. Because there's some things going to be happening in here later. Anyway. This engine needs a light that is the same color as this propulsion. So, which it usually has in the images and the regens, but this one it didn't give me the light. So again, I'm going to pull my brush, and this time I might give it a little bit of a curve because I am mimicking light. Not too much. Now what's our sizing? Our sizing should be about there. I can probably make that much thinner. And our angle should be just a hair smaller. And then, yeah, I'm going to make this a lot thinner. Okay, that looks decent. Alright, and now we just got to get our color dropper. And I think we'll start with kind of the darkest blue here. And go back to my paintbrush. What's my opacity? 10. Alright. I don't know, maybe two round. Maybe the first one we can lay in there is that round. So it looks like a little bit of glow. In fact, I'm going to back up because what we should be doing is adding another layer. Oops, I added a group. I want to add a layer. So now we're not painting directly on the underlying image. Let's see if I can. Yeah, let me get over here so you can. So that way we're not painting on this image. We're painting on the layer above it. And that way I can manipulate it later. All right, so we're gonna do a little brush there, and then I'm gonna make it just a hair smaller so that the next couple rounds, I still kind of want to see the detailing that it has underneath there. In fact, my angle's a little off. Is that better? Still off. Okay, here we go. Oops, I tapped it. Alright, so we'll do a little bing bing bing, tap tap tap, kind of do a little light tapping just to get a little bit of a, maybe like a glow effect happening there. Yeah, that might be a bit much. That might be a bit much, Todd. It looks, yeah, sometimes less is more. Alright, now we're going to go for a bit of a lighter color, more towards the white. And we'll dab that in there. Where's my paintbrush? 2 years and I still can never find the paintbrush. Alright, do a little tap. I'm just doing kind of rapid little taps in places. And then what's our hardness? Is a little, you got size and hardness here, baby. So, make sure you're checking your size and hardness on your brush. Might go a little smaller. Alright. And then we'll do one last pure white color just to give it a couple little taps with it. Doom. And boom. Paintbrush. And then this one, just a, you know what, the freaking angles a little off. Get it right, man. Get it right. Okay. There we go. Yeah, see, now it's nice and hot in there, middle. Right in the middle there is nice and warm. Alright. So let's pull back a little. See how that's looking. That looks alright. I think it could use a little bit more blue, though. A little more blue. If there ain't enough blue in the world, you need more blue. Alright. Colored. Where's my eyedropper? Again. And then we're going to go back up here. And then this time I'm going to make it much smaller. Ooh, that doesn't seem much smaller. That does. And just a little puff. A little puff. A little puff puff. Actually, let's make it super small. Because you kind of want it more on the edges. As a glow. That's a little better. Alright, maybe we make it hotter on the bottom. Or more glow on the bottom a little. Just because maybe the angle. Alright, let's pull back to regular. Whoa, hello. That's an O, Todd, not a 0. 0. Okay. Alright, now that looks pretty decent. I think that looks nice and hot in there. There's one other element that I add to these, which is my name. And I'll add it 3 times somewhere in the image. But I'm not going to show you that part for this one, because I like to keep those little spots a secret. But I do sign all the images with a faint signature about 3 times in the image, faintly somewhere. Just to do that. All right. This is another image that I was going to use for when he's taken off, and the tires will rotate back. Although, okay. So what I ended up, I don't know if you can really notice, but this the grain in between these two images are it's very different. But I really enjoyed this kind of blast that it was given here. Let me get a bigger. I wish I had a bigger marker so you could see where I'm. But this blast here was very nice, and then it had a little bit here. So I just kind of copied these tires and the walls around it. So I applied that to this image, which I thought this image just had a little bit better realistic look to it. But it didn't have the blast. So I've got on another layer my, oops, that's the license plate. Yeah, the license plate too was gibberish, so I had to add another license plate. And what else did I add? Hue and saturations were a bit off. Exposure, that was the original exposure. I had to bring it up a bit. A little bit of bright. That was how bright it was originally. Then I kind of brought it down to here, which now that I'm looking at it, I'm also trying to match it to another image. So that's the other element. Although when I look at that, that doesn't look. Actually, that looks really good when it's got its blasters on. Holy smokes. Okay, so maybe. So this was the trick. This was the idea. You'd have this shot, and then the next shot would be bam. And you could, the image, the blast would come out, and then the walls around it would light up as a side effect of that blast. But now that I'm looking at this, brightness, oh, hold on. No, that really takes you out of it, because if you did that at the same time, then the tires look dark. All right, yeah, okay, so this one, basically without the underground image, it looks like this. So these are all the added elements to it, and then I had to even use a brighter the other image had brighter, I don't know, what do you call it, just background, and then I kept it on the walls here in this cliff because it, like I said, it was a side effect of the lights being turned on. So if you look over here on this side of the image, if I turn it off, it does get a little darker, just because it's a little darker, and then you can kind of see the detail in the structure, but it's less here and then more down here because this is further away, so it wouldn't be picking up as much light. So these are the things I got to go through to make an image before I generate it. And then there was also some it was over patinaed. I think before I even layered it, it was a little heavy on the patina, so I had to delete some of that, kind of the same way I just showed you in the last one. And then that, so this one's done. This one was pretty much done. I gotta maybe clear up the license plate a bit so it's a little more legible, but for the most part, all I really gotta do is sign this one. Let's try to add a circle on his cheek real quick, and truthfully, he should have two hinges on the car. On this door should have two hinges, but I feel like so many generations have already been made with only the one hinge that, fuck it at this point. Alright, so let's get what are we in? A paintbrush? We are still in paintbrush. Lovely. That's too big of a circle. I'll do smaller. And just a hair bigger. Alright, let's side it up over here. Is it a direct shot? No, so let's do not a circle, but an oval to a degree. Yeah, a little bit more oval. And then I'm going to choose a kind of maybe a white, silver, gray color. And we'll just do that. And then I'll pick another color that is just a little bit whiter. And oops, sorry. Yes, okay. And then I'll get my paintbrush again and I'll make it just a little bit smaller and maybe off to the side so that it maybe gives a bit of a metallic look to it. Now, you're going to be backed up quite a bit. Let me smaller so it won't be super noticeable, but that looks good. I think from back here, you're not going to, you just see that. Okay. Yeah, in fact, that's a little dark. So, this is why you work on layers. Alright, so I'm going to go back over and get my eraser, and I'm going to erase that spot by like 2%. Boom, 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 until it kind of looks boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, it's not doing much. Well, it's only 2%, Todd. How much is it going to do? I'm going to do 30 clicks. Okay. That's tolerable right there, I think. Let's give it one more at like 5. That's 8. That might be much. Okay, 5. Wow, you are a stubborn little circle. A stubborn circle. There you go. That's probably looks more like it's in the car. Otherwise, it looked like it was reflecting too much light. All right, so those 2 images are done, and what are we at? We're at about 32 minutes here. We'll finish with this character that is large-breasted, as you can see, which, you know, some people have given me crap about. But the character is a pleasure bot, and that's kind of, it's also an assassin, and I feel like it's kind of comedic, in my opinion. It's ridiculously endowed, and I also feel that when they do come, they're going to be pretty ridiculous looking when they happen. So I'm going to show you originally. So I got a layer over it that's kind of transparent right now because there's a shadow back here. Now, originally, let me see if I can pull up the original image, because I'll show you she had a whole nother leg that was like protruding out behind her here. And downloads, did I download it? All right, let's move you over here. We'll go through some of my gens. Be careful. I'll try to swing pie some of the weirder ones, but we're looking for when they are. These are all the images. This is everything I do. Let's see. Let's go. Okay. Let's see. Fuck. Where is? Maybe it's in my assets. We'll go to image. And we'll get down to when I had her fighting a bunch of pirates. And then she looks up at the camera after she's fighting the pirates. But I was going to tell you something, but I'll go back to that later. All right, so we should be getting kind of close to. Hey, there we go. So there's a brothel in the film. So there's a couple nudie parts, but it is rated R, but it's not overt. All right, so this is the original image. You can see she seems to have what I would assume is the third leg ejecting from her bicep that came down, and it leaves a shadow. It's not only there, but it's also leaving a shadow. So I deleted the foot. There was no foot. Whoops. Alright, let's get back to here. Okay, that's our spot right here, Todd. That's your spot. There we go. And so
what I did was erase the foot, and then to get rid of the shadow, what I'm doing right now is I screenshotted this dirt, and then I have added it on top, but I only have it at 50%, and that's full percent. Without it, with it, and right now I'm pretty close. I think I've got it all pretty lined up. It just needs a little bit of erasing because this line is very hard, so I'm gonna have to mess with the hardness. And let's see what our opacity, pick the right word, my friend. 58%. We'll do a little bit big around the edges. Now the reason I'm gonna do it right here, I'm gonna take the opacity down a bit, so I don't want to cross over into this shadow area because then it'll just expose it again. So I'm gonna just kind of, well, let's make it at least tangible. Let's see the edge be tangible. Okay, so there we go. So I'm gonna clean up this edge. So there's none of that. And then I'm gonna, oh boy. All right, so I'm gonna go to 100%. 100%. And I'm gonna make my brush, well, let's get it to the right angle of the shadow. I'm gonna take the opacity down a little bit so I can see where the shadow line lies, right around here. Right around here. So I'll get my angle to be a little closer to that angle and puff my puffiness out. Puff out that puffy. And we're at 100%, and we're just going to skim along the, oh, I jitterbugged it. I'm going to skim along the edge. Easy jitterbug. Jitterbug. Actually, I'm going to do even less hardness. And we're going to slide this all the way. Man, I'm a little too jumpy today. Let's do our size, and then we can depuff. A little depuffing. This will be easier. I'm sure of steadier line. And with all that. Alright, so that might be good. That might be good. And then if I bring my opacity back up, is the shadow gone? Oh, it's magic. Magic. You can do anything that you desire. You know what? I'm going to get rid of this rock because it looks... I did have to increase the size a little bit, so the rock looks a little pixeled. Get my size down. Well, that's a dramatic drop in size right there. Oh yeah, but look at that hard edge. All right, get your softness back. And we're going to soften up that area and try not to get into where that old shadow was. I'm trying to just smudge out the shadow and keep whatever else was originally there. You know? Yeah, like that reveals a little bit of that footprint. Oh, hey, see, I delved into... Oh, no. That shadow is from a dune. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so I think, are done with these images today on Fixing AI Art with Todd for the last Space Cowboy. And then my credits just got bumped up today, so on Cling... So I'm gonna maybe use these to do some gens, and maybe next time you can walk you through that stuff, and maybe next time I can do this live. So I just need to get a longer cord. All right, guys. Well, thanks. Let me turn it around here. Back to the action. Wow, it's gotten dark in here since then. The sun is setting. Thanks for hanging out. I guess I'll see you on the next drop. Is that the word they use? I gotta drop something. Drop it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably do this more often. Somebody said that they're like, nobody wants to see you do that. They just want to see your final product. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think people like to see how these things are made and what you have to go through to get the images right. And I think a lot of people just think it's all typed. Everything's typed in, and there's no real art or creativity to it. And I don't know. I kind of disagree at this point because it's not as simple as typing it in, And if it is just typed in, you're gonna notice it. I think these new ones that have come out though are just, they're almost flawless. They're almost flawless. But I also know that these people have a lot of money and a lot of people working on them, and I'm here by myself, and I'm trying to do the marketing and I'm building the website and doing the marketing. I'm doing the crowdsourcing pages. I'm doing the artwork. I'm doing the prompting. I'm doing the generations, and then I'm doing the post effects and the sound effects and the voices, and it's a lot. So, and what I recently went through is put a very heavy financial restraint on all of this, and I I had a lot saved. I had a lot saved for this project, and it's not here anymore due to some certain circumstances that happened, and which is also why I'm here in this new place, which isn't ideal, but it was all I could afford, and so hopefully we'll do this again soon. And thanks for hanging out. Yeah, join the hunt. Maybe we'll make this movie happen. We can go from there. All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll talk to you later. I'm out of here. So goodbye and shit. All right. Bye.